Alright, so guess what happened today, guys? I had a debate with Halo Guy 7. You know who. To catch you up to speed if you absolutely don't know who I'm talking about, Halo Guy 7 is a prominently online cyberbully who bases his whole YouTube channel on hate speech against the furry fandom, which I happen to be a part of. So, he's a prominent figure within that community, and so I had a debate with him. And so the debate started off pretty murky. He kind of pinned me a little bit with like AI, like how I can't use AI, which I didn't know up until now. And so let's get to the good part. You know how anti-furries like to say people like me are fatherless? Well, guess what? Guess what, buckaroo? Guess who came in to help me out with this debate? An actual intellectual known as my dad. That's right. My dad came to help me, and he knows how to debate better than this idiot can. So this is where he came in. He said, "What am I expected to contend here for you to feel vindicated? I just want you to feel like you've really won something, since we aren't going to agree that you need validation due to clear insecurity." Right, because I'm the insecure one, lol, he says. My dad says, "Your docs are useless. Absolutely insecure. How old are you, 15? X that. So documenting crimes that help spread awareness of issues within your own community is useless?" And he says, "Glad to know you are inadvertently helping hide these issues and causing further damage. The furry community," so he says this, "the furry community can police itself. They don't need your insignificant input." Really? And how well has that turned out for them? Halo says. Dad says, no one advocates illegality or child abuse of any kind. Alternative lifestyles are for people that actually understand liberty in this country. It has never occurred to you that your worldview cannot and will not be imposed on free people. Bam. And he says, a non-negligible percentage of the fandom actively advocates for pedophilia. I don't know where you were pulling this out of, lol. Also, and he says, not me, your straw man is irrelevant, lol. You can go ahead and go look up what a straw man is. A straw man is basically something, it's something that someone creates and adds all these views to, and then they try to adds all these views based on a topic, and then they try to throw that on the other person and try to say that they believe these things that they never said they did. And dude, you gotta learn the terms to actually use them. Shut up. He said, so my dad says, I don't advocate that and will never defend pedos. Yeah, fake straw man argument. You might even be 14 at this point. Tell the truth, amigo. And he says, did I accuse you of that? And he says, are you going to argue with me or just try to... And so Halo says, are you going to argue with me or just try to cover up your flat-footed argument with insults? And my dad says, your debate tactic here is known as appeal to extremes and guilt by association. He says, did ChatGPT tell you that? No. I was there the whole time, and my dad did not pull up AI at any point. This is stuff he's pulling right from his brain. I'm the one who used AI, not my dad. So he says, you weren't exactly hiding the fact. My dad says, you target the worst minority of an alternative lifestyle group. That equals to appeal to extremes. So he says, oh, so the fandom is a lifestyle. That's odd. It's been self-labeled as a hobby for years. And then my dad says, and then strawman people into thinking that I would defend the indefensible. And what if we applied that tactic to our military? Sexual assault happens often in the military. Are they all rapists? You're low IQ. So Halo says, the difference is that the military takes active and loud action against such acts. The fandom does not. They instead go for the sweep under the rug and hope no one notices method. And so my dad says, how do you know that the fandom doesn't police itself? And he says, because people like me exist. If it did, I wouldn't be talking to you right now. And so my dad says, you think that FBI plants aren't keeping an eye on chat rooms? These are active, conscientious people inside and outside that fandom that make it a point to protect children. You're opposed to it, but this is America. People have freedom of association. And he says, Halo says, so you should just leave it to the government to do all the work for you. Never said they didn't. And Dad says, nope, I just stated that they're a member of the fandom, that they're members of the fandom that look out for others. And he says, and Halo says, maybe they need to step up their game a bit, lol. And so my dad says, like I said, you advocate against a group based on the appeal to extremes argument. It's boring, and your alternative is to control people. That's basic bitch fascism. And so Halo says, appeal to extremes is the incorrect fallacy. And Dad says, tell yourself you won, but high IQ people can see that you just want to impose your will on other people. Straight up un-American. So he comes over here and says, nothing I have stated has been dramatized. It's all in the docs. You'd know if you actually read them, lol. Okay, those docs right there, I've read them myself. All those docs is just cherry-picking little incidents that have happened by people who happen to be affiliated with the fandom, and using those to say that all furries are bad, even though there's an admittedly tiny-ass percentage of people who even support things like zoophilia. That's all it is if you read over it. And my dad said, incorrect fallacy. Okay, that's bad grammar. Maybe you were 15. Halo. Anyways, I speak for both of us when I say this argument is over. You are clearly not fighting for the original statement and instead opting for damage control to say we will do this. So now Halo Guy 7, the big guy who's almighty testosterone himself, is pussying out at an actual intellectual. Wow, serves him right. And my dad says, I can produce docs that outline trends of rape in our military. I will be not nice and not go there for your sake. Ooh, what a burn. So he says, the insults do not help your case either, lol. And he says, you're quitting already? I've already seen them, referring to the docs of rape. And so these are the last words my dad exchanges with them before he pussies out and tries to redirects the live stream to calling his friends and a bunch of discriminatory memes. So my dad says, why don't you leave policing the furry community to that group, and the FBI can do something productive with your teenage years. What you are doing is a teenage version of what Bill O'Reilly used to do. It's called demagoguery, another big word you can look up. Hello, more memes, and this is the memes that he's pulling up. I guess they are a wall you put up when you are ready to exit the awkward losing argument. And so there you have it, right there. He got his ass handed to him by an actual intellectual. This should be proof enough that anti-furries don't talk the truth. I mean, if it wasn't obvious already. They're a bunch of fucking high testosterone little teenagers who are liars. They're liars. I wouldn't believe them. No one should. So yeah, that's about it. I just wanted to bring this to your attention. Yep. See ya.